You were never supposed to know that the wilderness was not punishment. Because once you understand the wilderness, you understand why your life had to fall apart before your true identity could return. See, Egypt was the false system, Pharaoh was the false ruler, the Red Sea was the separation, but the wilderness was the stripping of the slave mind. It was God removing trauma from the body before the body could carry the promise. Because the promised land was never just a land, it was the human vessel restored back to divine order. And once you see that, you'll stop asking why God led you into the wilderness. And you'll realize He was leading the wilderness out of you. Let me break this down. Moses' journey was not just about a man leading people out of Egypt, okay? It was a map of the human awakening. Egypt represents the system that trained the vessel to serve the Pharaoh. And Pharaoh was not just the king, Pharaoh is the false ruler, the voice of fear, the voice of trauma, the voice of performance, the voice that says, produce for me, build for me, serve my kingdom. You are only valuable if you labor. And if you're new here, my name is Naibir Bomani. I'm an 8-time published author, prophetic and psychic seer, spiritual life coach, and I teach trauma hacking through scripture, Gnostic wisdom, psychology, quantum principles, and the human vessel. Because I don't believe these stories are just stories. I believe they are maps. Maps of the soul, maps of awakening, maps of how the false identity dies so the true self can return. So when Moses rises up, he represents the first awakening. That part of you that finally says, this is not my true home. I was not created to be governed by bondage. But leaving Egypt is only the beginning because the body can leave slavery while the nervous system still thinks like a slave. Sound familiar? That is why they had to go through the wilderness. The Red Sea broke the outer bondage, but the wilderness exposed the inner turmoil, the inner bondage. Now, this is where people misunderstand God. They think that the wilderness means God abandoned them. No. The wilderness is where God deprograms the vessel. It is where He strips the false dependencies, the idols, the survival patterns, the appetite for the familiar, the need to control the entire map, the need to go back to what hurt you just because it feels